Hello everyone and welcome to Oblivion Arrives. I want to talk about the new player approach to large fights, and a lot of new players in this game tend to not know where they're needed and how the fight is going, where to apply their pressure, and really in general what to do. And it's a lack of experience that causes this problem, but it's also a lack of training, because the training that's out there for Planetside 2 is very weak. It doesn't exactly prepare them for every situation because, quite frankly, there's no way to prepare for every situation as a new player. You either lack the certifications to do it, or you lack the knowledge of the battlefield. Now, there's a couple important things to note about a fight. And the most important thing to understand is that there are three layers of battle going on here. The first layer is the logistics, which determine if a fight even exists. And this fight here exists because we have set up sunderers that are flowing infantry into this base in an effort to actually capture A from the NC. Now, the NC have logistics as well, but unfortunately for us, theirs is protected behind a spawn shield. So in order to get them out of this base, we have to actually capture A. Now, if they want to win this fight, they need to go out there and destroy our sunderers to get our infantry out of here, and then they can push out with whatever they want to destroy our vehicles. The problem for them is that it's a lot harder to get out of a base where you have multiple sources of fire coming in. And I'm one of those sources here. We can see my objective here is to hurt their logistics. And what I'm doing is I am preventing them from getting defenders to A, making our infantry more effective and have an easier time of getting into the building. In this particular fight, the green waypoint back there is where we are approaching from, and that's where our infantry is coming from. The problem is that is the mouth of a cave, and the NC have a firing pattern into that cave that's very effective. In fact, what lay before them is pretty much a kill zone because it has no cover for our guys to use when getting to that building. So, what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to hurt their logistics by doing what damage I can with an anti-infantry weapon. Now, I can't kill their logistics like they can if they killed our sunderer, but I can slow down their flow of troops, and that's exactly my goal. Now, anyone on the defending team should try to identify what is hurting their logistics, because if they have equal numbers and you apply enough pressure to their logistics, they'll never ever get into the base. And here's an example of somebody doing the correct thing. He probably got killed by me, or he saw me up here sitting in a vehicle, one-manning a gun, and decided to come up and kill me. That actually was a damn good job, because now every single guy I was shooting at that had pressure from me that I was killing is free to walk into that base, provided they can get past that rampaging ant down there. So that's how to approach a fight, is that logistics are what make a fight exist. Now, there is two additional layers that really make combat a thing. The first layer is a strategic approach to the battlefield, and it's fire support. Fire support is what allows logistics to get in place. So if you want to drive a sunderer up to a base that is defended, you aren't going to just drive up and deploy. If you do that, someone's going to blow your shit up. All these tanks that I'm driving past right now, those are the fire support. Those are the guys that pushed up here originally and provided an area in which our logistics could get set up in order to siege the base. Now, because they've done their job effectively, we're able to get the sunderers in place, but they kind of have to maintain that tank presence out there. Otherwise, the infantry could push out and get to those sunderers by simply overwhelming our infantry support. So if they are able to get out there, those sunderers will be gone, and our logistics are cut, and the base is pretty much no longer under siege. So the objective of fire support is to create enough of a threat that they are not going to attack your logistics. And it's a very important role, but it's also kind of a boring role if you got nothing to shoot at. So our prowlers are set up. They're firing in towards the spawn room. They're making sure the NC don't pull any vehicles, and they're out there just in general, raining shells in to create havoc. Now, lastly, the last thing I want to talk about is the actual combat. These are the guys that are really, really, really having it rough, and these are the guys that are actually the assaulters. They're the ones that are pushing in through that mouth, and they're the ones that are trying to get to A and capture it. That's probably the roughest job out there because you're going to die so many times, and you're going to be shot by so many different things, and you're not going to make it to your objective. And it's very debilitating because you're going to be killed frequently. It's kind of what's happening to these guys leaving the base. They're trying to get to the objective, and they're just simply not making it. They respawn, they run out there again, they get killed by something else. It's infuriating. But in Planetside, you're going to die. And you're going to die a lot in this game. It's just part of the game's design. If you win an epic battle with a huge amount of people, expect to be shot at by a huge amount of people. That's pretty much the nature of the beast. So as a new player coming into this kind of fight, you need to understand and take a step back and look at the battlefield and determine what's causing the problem. Try to analyze specifically what killed you, what's preventing you from doing what you're trying to do, and then adjust your tactics accordingly. When I came out here, I looked at this fight, and I actually had a harasser with the Vulcan, which is an anti-vehicular weapon. And I was out here trying to provide fire support for our tanks. And I looked around and I said, holy shit, I'm useless. There's nothing I can do here. And I was like, okay, so do I go as infantry? Well, I tried that for a little bit, but decided that we were still having problems. We needed to hit their logistics a little bit more. Consequently, what I decided upon was I took a harasser and I equipped it with a gate diffuser in order to get through that shield that's blocking all of our tanks. Once that was done, I got up here with a marauder just to hurt their guys from getting to the objective, and that pretty much created the extra gaps that we needed in their defense in order to push into A and capture it. Now, NC, from their point of view, there's a couple of different things they could have done differently to defend this base, but overall they gave us one hell of a fight here. They did ultimately lose out, and that's simply because the amazingness of our logistics damage, and also because our amazing combat guys down there, the assaulters getting into that room and cleaning it out of all the mines, the max suits, and all the assholes that are in there just simply shooting back at them. And I am so impressed by the guy down there in the ant. You'll even see me send him a telling him, oh my god, man, you're a machine, because him and his gunner were just causing as much damage, except they weren't sitting up on a high perch somewhere. They were out there mixing it up with them. And NC could have killed either one of us. We already got killed once by a C4 guy, and there will be another guy that does it again here in a couple seconds. And in fact, we'll see here momentarily he'll jump me. And the ant also could have been C4'd. They could have put missiles on it. They could have pulled tanks from a different base and tried to power our fire support. But they didn't do any of that. The most we see is the guys on top of the ridge that are trying to rain missiles down. That's only so effective. If your logistics are still cut off from getting to the objective, the base is lost. On defense, you can only hope to obtain a draw. It takes offense of some kind to actually win. So, in this example here, we can see that NC were able to hold the base for a good amount of time, but they didn't vary their tactics. They kept running out there, just blindly running at A. They got cut down in the process. The infantry that was in there was cut off. They lost control of the base, and their logistics started to be threatened by the base capture happening. So they're about to be pushed out of here. They've got no Sunderers to back up to, and they're not doing anything to change their tactics, like pulling tanks or going to a different base and trying to sneak around and blow up our Sunderers. There's nothing they're doing to try to end this fight. What they're trying to do is just prolong it. So another great move here by Light Assault. Takes me out. That was actually really effective. It was a little late for what he was doing. If he would have got me a little bit earlier and not given me so much time to empty the magazine of the Marauder, fight might have gotten a little bit different. potentially, and especially if they would have C4'd that ant, it would have had the same effect. The fight would have been a little bit different. The guys inside would not have, been outnumbered by the TR pouring through the cave mouth. So, best thing I can advise for a new player playing this game: look at what kills you, see how they killed you, and why it happened, and try to think of what you could have done differently to prevent that from occurring in the first place. And once you realize where the battle is taking place, like where the enemy is coming from, try to take that out. Because if you can cut logistics to any operation of offense against any base in this game, then you've effectively won the fight. So take some time, analyze it. I'm going to let this video play out here for the end, and hopefully this was informative if you're new to the game. If you're a veteran, you're probably rolling your eyes at me, but fact remains, you do the same thing probably. Take care, guys.
Victory is our tradition.
And that is that.